This is a video for our campaign to stop fracking in Nova Scotia, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce Charles Purdy, owner of Bay Enterprises here on Malagash, biggest exporter of oysters and shellfish, I understand, in North America.
And, ways to go.
Well, and just wanted to start with Charles. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to talk to you. Would you be able to give us some of the history of Bay Enterprises?
Well, Bay Enterprises Limited, we've always been in the not in the shellfish business, and originally we were farming, and we farmed the land and we farmed the woods. We had a sawmill, and we were always involved in the resource industry. Back about 18 years ago, we decided to get into the shellfish. There was a lot of reasons for it. It was a real natural fit here. We looked at different places around the world when we were deciding to do this, and one of the big things with shellfish is to have an area that's really pure, really a pristine environment. So of all the possible opportunities we could find, we thought that was the best one. So our company decided to go forwards with that. Our company it's a family company. Our family goes back here into Malagash. We came in as a family in 1783.
Wow.
And my mother's family came into Tanamagush. Her ancestor was the first English-speaking school teacher in Tanamagush.
Amazing.
So we really have a heart and a care for what happens here. Because of the fact that we have such a wonderful and pristine environment, and I keep looking out the window there at it, we don't want to lose that. For shellfish, that's the biggest thing. That's what we have to have. That's what everything depends on. Back, I suppose it's maybe 12 years ago now, we were approached by one of the environmental scientists from the federal government. They wanted to do testing, and one of the places was in Cape Breton at the tar ponds. So they knew how clean the water was here, so they wanted a mussel that they could use as a standard. As they worked through this, they found that a lot of places needed this sort of service. So our mussels from here became used as a standard in testing in other areas, and even were taken to other countries. And they were used as a standard of purity.
Yeah. Gas and oil exploration, and I know you mentioned that you've had some experience out west, so maybe you can just talk about that a little bit.
Yes, that was a bit of an interesting experience. Because my business is seasonal. During the winter I have 2 or 3 months when I don't work. So I decided, what's all this about with the tar sands, or they don't like calling it tar sands. Oil sands is more correct, I think. Anyway, I went out, got a job driving a water truck. And I was hauling first 2 rigs that were being set up. They would drill down, and then they would drill out horizontally. I don't know, going down, I think it was close to a mile.
Yeah.
And then we started hauling water to the exploration rigs. We hear an awful lot of jobs, but there were not a terrible lot of people working there in the oil patch. They were good paying jobs, but they were short-term jobs, and they were not as great a jobs as they were cracked up to be.
Yeah.
I got hurt, and that put an end to that career. So.
Oh, really? During the, when you were hauling the water and the waste, were there ever any other problems with disposal? You ever come across times when there were leakages or?
Basically, yeah. There were times. A lot of the rigs that were being used were in very bad condition. Now, there was one instance there where they were blowing hydraulic lines, and when the hydraulic line would blow, there would just be hydraulic oil going everywhere, and they weren't even using high pressure fittings. They just had low pressure hydraulic fittings on site, And rather than shut down until the proper fittings were brought up from Edmonton or even from Fort McMurray, they just kept putting the other fittings on, and there was a considerable amount of hydraulic oil went across the yard that day.
Yeah. If fracking did come to this area, what effect could it have on your business as regards to...
Well, there's a lot we don't know, and I think maybe that's one of the biggest problems. If we were to get any number of things into our environment, it all ends up in the ocean. Everything comes downhill, and it certainly has the potential to ruin the shellfish industry. We hear of, a lot of jobs being created, but I don't think we're really thinking a lot of the times of the jobs that could be lost. If we lose this industry here, my job is gone, my family's job, and there's an awful lot of other people in the area that, besides shellfish leaseholders, they work harvesting commercially, oysters and quahogs and so on. And this, it's such a wonderful shellfish growing area. It's a shame to lose that and all the jobs that already exist. And then we have people that make a living trucking the shellfish away, so,
I know you mentioned that the shellfish spawning is very sensitive to vibration.
Yes, it certainly is. One of the things that we do have here, part of our operation, is a shellfish hatchery. I guess it's one of two in eastern Canada, and I believe there's a third maybe going to be built. But one thing that we found, the first year we just couldn't get it to work. And we found that we had an electric motor. And an electric motor doesn't make much vibration, but there was an electric motor running in one of the part of the building, and that put enough vibration the shellfish wouldn't spawn. So, vibration can certainly stop shellfish from spawning, and if there's sufficient vibration out in the bays or coming up through the bottom and through the water, it could certainly stop spawning. It could disrupt the migratory path of fish. There's a lot of things that we just don't know. And if we don't know, it's probably better just to err on the side of caution.
Do you think that fracking should be stopped in Nova Scotia?
I think so, yes. I think the risk is too great.
Okay. Well, Charles Purdy at Bay Enterprises, Malagash, thanks so much for your time and great information. Thank you very much.
Very well, thank you.
Thank you.